everybody.
The first Tanto I'm going to talk about here is a late Koto Tanto made by, well, it's unsigned, but it was attributed by the NTHK to Kunimune. And he was a highly regarded smith of the Uda school. And the Uda school is from Ichu province, and it's actually from the northern part. So one of the characteristic things when you look at this Tanto in the right light is that you can see how dark the steel is, and again, that's a characteristic of northern schools, as was pointed out by the previous presenter. And this is as I was saying, it was unsigned, but attributed to Kunimune, and they gave it to around 1555. So this would probably put it about maybe the 4th generation Kunimune. And the Nakago it's been shortened by, I would say, maybe a half or an inch. And but other than that, it's in beautiful condition. And one thing you have to remember with the Yamato school, because it was such an early school, by the late Koto period, the style started to get convoluted with Yamashiro. And so, in terms of the Jihada here, you have it's a fine tame mixed with a masame, and a lot of times in earlier Yamato and earlier Yamashiro, you think Itame, you think Yamashiro, and Yamato, you think Masame, and this is kind of a mixture of that, and that's very characteristic of a late Koto piece by the Uda school. And do you have any questions about this particular Tanto?
Which Kunimune? Which?
I was looking at a couple of different references. I think around the fourth generation.
Of the museum or?
Of the Uda school.
Uda.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think looking at a couple of different, looking at the big swordsmiths index. I think based on they don't actually in the paper attribute a specific generation, but because they attribute it to around 1555, I'm thinking probably like the 4th generation. Could be 4th or 5th generation. Any other questions?
So with a Tanto like this being shortened, was it shortened to fit new furniture? Was the Nagasa changed when it was shortened? Do we know?
Well, the Nagasa was shortened, and again, I was thinking it was probably shortened by maybe a half to a full inch, and you can see that primarily by the fact that it has a very blunt tip to the Nakago, but also you can see down here approximately kind of where maybe the original basically what happened was you can see that that based on just by its profile that it was shortened a little bit, and it was shortened from this side by kind of shifting everything up. And shifting it, by not very much. So it could have been a damage to the Munamachi or Haramachi. It's really hard to tell. I don't think it was ever signed because even with a shortening of a half to a full inch, you wouldn't have lost the signature. So I don't think it was ever signed. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I'll move on to the second tanto. Again, this one is Mume, and it was attributed to a specific generation by the NTHK. So they were very specific in their appraisal, even though it's not signed. And it was attributed to the second generation Shigetaka, and he was one of the paramount smiths of the Mino of the Ichizen Seiki school. And so at the end of the Koto period, late Muromachi, what you had was the Mino school kind of breaking up and splintering off into all these different provinces outside of Mino, and outside of the city of Seiki. And what happened was that this branch was the branch that was established in Ichizen. Okay, and in the connoisseur's book of Japanese swords, Shigetaka is listed as one of like the representative smiths for that school during the Shinto period. And the NTHK gave this to the the dating, and they actually attribute it exactly to the second generation, and they give the dating around 1661 was the tail end of his working period. So he worked from basically the 1640s to the 1660s. And another interesting aspect of this particular tanto is that, and I've never seen this before on any other sword, this is a copper-based habaki, which isn't remarkable in any regards, but it has a foil shakudo cover, and I've never actually seen shakudo foil on a habaki before. So I found it really kind of fascinating. And this one, the Haman is not a it's not a Suguha like you had with the Ura. You know, it's very much characteristic of Gonome Ba is how the NTHK describes this Haman. The Hada is kind of a mokame, or it's a masame mokame mixture, where this one was a itame masame mixture, and there's a lot of and I don't know if the lighting isn't ideal here, but if you look very carefully, you can see a lot of G-nie in this. The Haman, of course, is done in a Nioi deki, but then you also have punctuating parts of the G, and also into the Haman, a lot of like very coarse Nie. And I've seen that before in other schools. Seen that in Owari Seiki. I've seen that in mainline Mino, like Jumyo. You kind of also see that. A lot to look at. Any questions about this particular tanto? And this tanto, based on its size, I consider it an O-Tanto, a large tanto. But it's a little bit shorter. It's a little bit too short to be a Shinobu tanto or a Kowa Kasashi. You know, it's about a centimeter too short. So it's a little bit too short for that.
They come with any furniture?
It comes in a shurasaya, and it's actually a really nice shurasaya. So, yeah, I always appreciate it. Shurasayas are a bit like boxes, you know. You start to appreciate them.
You do.
So, any questions about this particular tanto?
How many swings that Uda Kunimune? How many men?
Oh, this one? How big? How long is it?
Yeah, Uda Kunimune.
Oh,
No, 5?
yeah, I have. That's a good
5
question.
soon, right?
I would have to look on my website.
You said it's not 1555.
Oh yeah, it's 1555. Sorry.
Those days, among the Japanese samurai, there was a kind of started using hiding tanto, hidden. So you see so many short ones, even in the bizen.
Mm.
Both ryoba zukuri, very short, 5 soon. Those were specially ordered for the hidden extra. Because at certain meeting, they have to, know daito wakizashi, right?
Right.
And sometimes maybe you have to take off the tanto too. But they needed an extra, probably. That's why so many were made during 1550, around that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you better study, those areas. Very short one is
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
could be used for the ladies. Lady has one tanto here, right? Always, they also carry. I mean, samurai wives, and possibly used for that. I don't know what kind of tsukuri with it, but sometimes you'll see it's for the ladies.
That's really interesting.
Well done. Okay, David, thank you very much.
You're welcome.